Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today in our episode of Canal Days, what life was like in the industrial Connecticut River Valley. As always, I'm your host, Carrie, along with my co-host, founder of Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Como. Our Canal Days series delves into the vast collection of historical sites throughout Massachusetts, with Robert's expertise of the local history as our personal guide. Each episode, we uncover historic towns, monumental sites, eminent pioneers, and consequential remnants while delving into their seminal and formative significance. Today's episode of Canal Days will be traversing the Bushman Fuller House in Holyoke, Massachusetts. So, can you illustrate for us the house at 540 Homestead Avenue?
Well, I got a few pictures on my webpage. It's at the northeast corner of Homestead Avenue and Westfield Street. It is a very old house. It's one of the few pre-1800 homes left in Holyoke. And it was built by Bushman Fuller. And so today we're going to talk about the Fuller family, and the Moss family, and then any other important individuals that lived in this beautiful house. And it's an old colonial home. It has a big front porch, which is not the original at all. It's a lot bigger than it really should be for a colonial home. So that's one thing that's very different. But this home is going to be my fourth installation in the house in Holyoke through time. I've given presentations on a house on Linden Street, Chestnut Street, Pleasant Street, and every year I do new ones. So this is the one I'm doing this year because it's 250th year anniversary of the Revolutionary War. So I look for a colonial home, and he might not have fought in the Revolutionary War, but of course it's very important to talk about these old homes. So hopefully I can see you there. If not, we'll have a video of it.
And can you characterize the Fuller family and their significance?
Well, there was Bushman Fuller, and he was able to gain his freedom from his master, Nathan Ely. He was an enslaved person. He was taken from Africa, brought to Massachusetts, and he worked on farms around the West Springfield area. And as he got about to 30 years old, he was able to gain his freedom, and then he was able to, with $100, buy the freedom of a woman that he wanted to marry. And she was based in Windsor. And what happened, he offered to pay 100 bushels, which is equivalent back then of $100, bushels of wheat, and he was able to gain for Flora Perry of Windsor her freedom, and married her, and then he built a house on the property that he had bought out from the nephews of Nathaniel Ely. And he started up a life. He would have 4 children that would live to adulthood. Michael was one son, Heman was another. Then he had 2 daughters, Clarissa and Flora. So all these young people grew and prospered. The 2 sons probably got quite a bit of money by being involved in the canal navigation of goods upwards into the heart of New England. And the land stayed in that family for an extremely long time. The house is probably made about 1780 or so, and it was on about 56 acres of land, and it stayed in the family to 1842 before it was finally sold off to another individual. And it stayed not only with Bushman, it stayed with his daughter and then his granddaughter for a while. Quite a history.
And we will be right back after these quick words from our sponsor. Are you fascinated by local history and eager to investigate the obscure treasures off the beaten path throughout the state of Massachusetts? Or maybe just seeking an unforgettable cultural activity for family and friends to enjoy? Look no further than Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, founded by Robert Como. With over a decade of experience, Robert offers captivating tours and presentations of historic sites and landmarks throughout the state. Whether you're interested in canals, cemeteries, charming churches, or more, Robert's tours provide a unique and enriching experience for all. And that's not it. You can also schedule private tours tailored to your interests, ensuring a personalized adventure and unforgettable memories. Perfect for families or groups of all sizes, making for an exciting hands-on learning experience that brings history to life. Simply visit holyokecanaltour.org or email bobcat4214 at yahoo.com to book your private tour today. But wait, there's more. Don't miss out on Robert's podcast and video series, Canal Days, where you can dive even deeper into the vital history of the Connecticut River Valley. Plus, for those who may not be local or would rather enjoy it on the go or from the comfort of their home, Canal Days brings the adventure right to your screen. So don't miss out. Uncover the pivotal past with historical tours of Greater Holyoke to make your own history with memories that will last a lifetime. Remember to log on to holyokecanaltour.org for more information and secure your personalized experience today. Welcome back to our Canal Days episode of the Bushman Fuller House. And you define the Moss family and their relation to the house at 540 Homestead Avenue.
The Moss family bought out the house in 1862. James Moss, the father, had come up from Connecticut and wanted a place to have a farm up in Massachusetts. He bought the house and lived there until his death, but his wife would live till 1911, and it would stay actually in the family for a very long time, because what would happen is that they would have 7 children. His wife was Jane, but his children were Anne, Alice, Emily, Margaret, and the sons were James, Frank, and Andrew John. And some of these would live at the house all the way through their lives, and some would venture off. Andrew John would become a real estate agent and a policeman, and would live at the house off and on for a while. James would live there for quite a while. Alice Ann would live there until she was a teacher in the elementary schools of Holyoke, and she would live there till her untimely death in 1916. Frank was the true owner of the house after his father, and he was a milk dealer and a farmer. He had so much work available that he hired hands, and they would live in the house too. And he would get married later in house and later in his life, and he would marry a person named Louise Pauline, and they would get married in 1934, and she would live there until the 1980s before it was sold again. So a lot happened here with the Moss family. So 2 big families lived there for a total of about 200 years. That's an incredible amount. But the house is about 250 years old, so there were other owners and other tenants, so forth, along the way too.
And that leads to my next question of clarify on whether or not other families have resided in the house and that you are aware of.
Yes, one of the teachers that taught in a school across the street from here actually lived there for a while. And then the wife of Frank Moss, Louise, she would have tenants live there too. They would also have farmhands live there for a long time. And also, there were 2 other owners along the way before the Moss family came in. One, in 1942, when the Fuller family finally sold off to John Thompson, and he lived there for 6 years. In 1948, up to 1962, 14 years, Cyrus Kemp lived there with his family. So There has been quite a menagerie of people that lived in this house, and that's what gives the house some color, along with knowing the fact that almost every house along Homestead Avenue was on land that belonged to the Moss and before that the Fuller family.
Thanks for listening to Canal Days and our episode on the Bushman Fuller House and joining us on our journey through the rich history of the Connecticut River Valley. We hope you enjoyed uncovering some of the hidden and overlooked marvels and their fascinating stories that shaped our past in the state of Massachusetts. A special thanks to Robert Camus, founder of the Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, for sharing his passion and expertise with us. Remember, you can find more information about Robert's tours, book private tours, and explore the Canal Days video and podcast series at holyokecanaltour.org. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, and share. We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions for future episodes. And don't forget to keep exploring and discovering the history that is hidden in plain sight all around us. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to tune into our next episode of Canal Days on holyokecanaltour.org. Until next time.